While America has skillfully convinced us that we must have this rugged individualism in order to be deemed successful, America knows that this is one of her greatest lies. Great African countries were divided long before they were conquered. Our cities were strategically divided before they were gentrified. Our leaders were effectively turned against one another, no longer speaking, refusing to sit at the tables with one another. And because of that refusal to partner, they have been convinced that in order to receive funding, we must first be in good graces with large corporations before we can gain access to dire services. But the truth is that when we know our worth and build unbreakable bonds, our cities and schools could be great providers of services that would lighten the load on our communities. We have been forced to believe that the almighty white hand is the only hand qualified to feed us, but they are not. We are feeding them. Corporations do not exist without customers, without the talented ingenuity of their employees, without government welfare, and all of those resources come from the people. When we understand the value of our partnerships, we can reroute the flow of dollars into our communities, but we must first seek peace within and amongst ourselves. Seek peace with our brothers and sisters, work through our differences, and seek healthy corporate partnerships, healthy community partnerships, free of exploitation. In your quest for racial justice, know the difference between a predator, an ally, and a partner. Predators are the greatest pretenders in the world. A predator will seek partnerships with you, but predators support publicly while sabotaging you privately. They will appear to care about your causes and your people, but their focus is solely on ruthlessly exploiting your gifts, talents, and resources. They may offer you a small grant knowing the dollar amount is never enough to sustain your organizations in exchange for unrealistic reporting protocols for your information, your intellectual properties, and most of all, your connections and a demand for unhealthy compromises that devastate your communities. In Benton Harbor schools, like many other Black priority schools, the government called them in Michigan priority schools, we were forced to enter into consent or partnership agreements. They were publicized as efforts to save our failing, debt-ridden schools. These partnership agreements were actually policies designed to dismantle our public schools from the inside out. One particular stipulation required our school system to agree to eliminate 25 to 50% of our teaching staff abruptly. Now imagine the devastation that policies like that would cause to Black communities across Michigan. The stories you're told is that teachers just leave the profession because they're not getting paid enough. But I'm here to tell you that as a former teacher, the pay wasn't great, but I remember all of our teachers having to reapply for our jobs at the end of a school year during final exams because of a policy like that. I remember teachers just leaving, to work across the bridge to teach at the predominantly white schools because those schools didn't have the same policies enforced on them. And in that instance, legislators and the corporations financing their campaigns were predators of public schools. They didn't care how many mentors they stole from our children, how many homes went into foreclosure due to job loss, how many heart attacks and health conditions the stress caused. The violence that ensued when our communities were gutted by policies like that. They pretended to make our school districts priorities while they were planning to privatize public education. Know a predator by their patterns. Predators will take all of the credit and convince the world that you were the bad guys.